Good morning. So I know I'm the personal branding guy. I know that my professional focus is all about helping you to master your personal brand as a coach so that you can make more money, have more clients, make more impact, have more reach, all of those wonderful things. So you might be saying to yourself, dude, why do you keep talking about this money mindset stuff? And the reason, well, it should be self-evident. The reason I talk about it is because getting more clients is not enough, you guys. Not really. The reason I talk about it is because you'll never get where you really want to go unless you change your thinking, right? And I'm going to give a big shout out here to my mentor, Mark Lack. Hey, Thomas. Hey, Denny. So I'm giving a big shout out here to Mark Lack because being in his mastermind has really, I've been in several masterminds. I've had some high-level coaches, and I will say, what do you call that? Like a unsolicited testimonial that Mark's program is that's the best one. It may be the only one I really feel has been worth my money. But one of the things that is shifting for me, like dramatically and radically and all the time, is how to think about all this stuff. Right? My goal, as many of you know, is $100,000 months. Now, that's great. But here's the thing. Even if I was to make $100,000 months, which I will, and I didn't have what I call sort of the back-end knowledge, right? The ways of thinking about what to do with that money once you make it, it wouldn't, believe it or not, it wouldn't make a substantial change for me, right? Because think about it. When you were a kid, what did you do if you had a lot of money? Well, 99 out of 100 of you spent it all. And I would have the house I always dreamed of. I'd have a couple of cars, which is, 3 or 4 cars, which is what I want. I would have, instead of my nice little espresso maker I have in the kitchen, I'd have a professional level one that was hardwired into a hot water line and all that stuff. I'd have all the goodies and the creature comforts. I'd have a beautifully professionally designed front and backyard. You know what I mean? I'd have all those things and it would be great. I'd have a nice wardrobe, which for me is a mix of really nice pieces and run-of-the-mill pieces, and I like to mix and match. So, I'd have a couple of $5,000 jackets and things like that to go with my $25 jeans. That's not the point. The point is, until you understand how to think differently, the income that you make is not going to really change your life, right? And that's why you'll never get wealthy doing what you're doing. Because like me, or like I used to be, you're focused on how much am I making? How much am I making? And if you're a younger hotshot, hustlepreneur, then you're focused on all the wrong things. What you want to be focused on, need to be focused on, should be focused on, ought to be focused on is how does your money work for you? That's a big shift, right? That's a big shift from how much money can I make to how does it work for me once I make it? This is important. So, you can make $35,000 a month and understand these sort of important back-end investment and management and tools like that about money and wind up further ahead than the person making $50,000 or $100,000 a month. That's very, very doable. It's going to be down to your understanding of how to make your money work for you. And that is a big part of what I'm focusing on right now. And that's a big part of what I want to share with you and talk to you about. You will notice there is a colorful, I don't know if you can see the green. I know you can't read it, but if you can even see the green writing there, there's a colorful list of red and green names back there. Those names are the names of people who I'm either going to be doing exclusive trainings into their groups, or doing some sort of a joint venture project with them. Why? Why don't I just keep on doing what I'm doing? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is what I do now is fine. It's great and I love it. But there is a sense, especially because it's primarily organic. You may know me as you know, I'm a big fan of organic marketing, especially before you reach a certain income level. And the thing about organic marketing is you sort of are one at a timing the leads. It's just how it goes, right? Even if you get a bunch of interest all at once, there's a little bit of a one at a timing kind of a feeling to it. If I can deliver great value and training and education and you know, life-changing ideas to those people on that list back there, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people on that list. That represents 11 groups and or opportunities, right? So 11 audiences. That's bigger. Do you see how that's leveraged? So that's one of the long-term strategies. That's thinking ahead about leveraging my time. But if you are not also leveraging your money, then leveraging your time will not be as leveraged as it could be. You see what I'm saying? And so the topic of this live stream is here's why you'll never get wealthy doing what you're doing and how to fix it. Here's how to fix it. You've got to set up and allocate a system for what happens to your money. And for most of us, this should be a system that happens before you can see it. Set it up once and let it run in the background. So what do I mean by that? Let's say I earn $1,000, okay? For most of us, what happens to that $1,000 is it goes into our checking or our savings or our business account. Maybe our business savings, right? Maybe. So you're talking about 4 things there, tops. Well, what I'm setting up is an allocation process that I don't have to even see. I'm setting it up through my bank. For every $1,000 that is deposited into my bank, it's automatically going to be allocated in certain ratios to different things. One idea that most people aren't aware of that I really like is we think of our savings account, most of us, as where our savings goes, right? How about this? Your savings account should only be used to save for a certain goal. That goal may be a new house, it may be a new trip, it may be a new car, right? Whatever it is, your savings account should only be used to save for an objective or a goal. Why? Because the interest on a savings account is so nominal, believe it or not, that one single overdraft charge, which, by the way, shut off your overdraft protection. One single overdraft charge will wipe out a year's worth of interest for most of us. Or if you have a bit of money, but you're still using the savings account method, 2 or 3 overdrafts in a year will outbalance the interest you'd earn in a normal, even high yield savings account. So what if every time $1,000 went to your bank, some of it went to your savings account because you had a goal, some of it went to your Vanguard account, your investment portfolio, whatever it was, right? But it happens before you see it. Because let's face it, if you have $1,000, you'll find a way to spend $1,000. Thomas says, started my money allocation when I was 18 and it still holds. Perfect, Thomas. Yes, sir. Yes, indeedly. That's what I'm talking about here, right? It should be working for you even when you're not making more money. You should be making more money. In other words, you should be able to go a month without earning anything at the front end and still have more money being created by the money you already have. This is one of the ways that people who create wealth think, that the most of us don't. This is one of the key ways that people who create wealth think that the rest of us don't think like. Trapped by my own sentence structure there. What's another one? Paying attention to the little ways that money leaks out. For instance, overdraft charges, right? You can cancel that. And if you can't cancel it at the bank you're at, on principle, it should be worth it to you to go to a different bank. Because on principle, if they won't let you cancel your overdraft protection, that means, well, I mean, overdraft protection is a scam. It sounds pretty and somebody dreamed it up and it was great marketing, but let's face it, it's a total scam. Let me give you an example. I have had more than one situation in my life, especially when I was younger and I really struggled to make money, where I would have a checking and a savings, and the overdraft was connected to the savings to cover the checking. And there would be a situation where, like, I'd buy something small with my ATM card, and then the deposit that was going to cover it would come in late, like even a day late or a few hours late. They'd bill me for not having enough money in my account to cover the charge. Then they'd do an overdraft charge, right, to move the money. I don't know if you remember in the old days, a lot of banks actually charged you. Like there was a fee associated with moving your money from your one account to another. And so I'd wind up paying like $68 for a $5 thing. Now, on principle, that should not be okay with you. $68 will not make or break you, especially not if it's 68 minus 5. But on principle, you should not be okay with that. Did you know that last year banks made an estimated $38 billion with a B just in overdraft fees alone? $38 billion. So they're banking on the charges being just small enough that you won't care enough to go through the trouble to change it or fight it. Meanwhile, they're doing this millions and millions of times. That's predatory. In principle, you should not be okay with that, right? And people who grow their money wisely and people who wind up creating wealth, by and large, are not okay with that. They're willing to make changes so that things like that don't happen on principle. So it's a shift in thinking. That's my point here. The reason you'll never get wealthy doing what you're doing is because you're not thinking the right way. Thomas says, by law, you can only do 6 transfers out of certain accounts a month. That's insanity, right? I mean, that's crazy. So what I want to talk to you about then, what I want to hammer home here, what I really want to help you with is you've got to shift the way you think. Take it from a guy who's shifting the way he thinks and was so laissez-faire about money and so reckless about money and so irresponsible about money. And my attitude was always, I'll just earn more. I'll just earn more. And earning more is a big part of it, by the way. If you don't earn what you're worth right now, you need to look at that. I'll do another rant about that at another time. But you have got to earn what you're worth. You got to go through the journey and the process of getting there, right? And I say that because, like Tom, I know you're just starting out in this journey, and you can't just jump in and go, it costs $50,000 to work with me without any trust in the market, because nobody will give it a rat's ass. Let's see, yeah, there we go. But you got to keep pushing for it. You got to keep working for it. When I was painting houses, I remember feeling like, man, this is hard physical work. And I started off making $14 an hour. No, it was less than that. It was $100 a day is what I started with, painting houses. Even though I was unskilled labor, I was strong and I was bright, and I learned fairly quickly. But I got really quickly to the point where I was like, I don't want to work this hard, this long each day for only $100. And so I literally leapfrogged from painting company to painting company until I found, I gave myself raises $1 at a time by leapfrogging like that. Thomas. So take a lesson from me, who was brash and bold about creating the level of pay that I thought I was worth, right? Rather than just waiting for the $1 a year raise that most construction outfits in California give people. Typically, you're going to get about $1 every year raise, maybe $2 a year. That's what was typical, at least back in the day. That's unacceptable, man. I'm carrying 5 gallons of paint upstairs onto roofs. I'm humping ladders all day, right in the sun. No. I'm getting top dollar from the market. I want you to think like that too. I want it to be congruent with the value you provide, but I want you to think like that. I don't want you to be undercharging because you think maybe it'll attract more clients or you're not sure, all the stuff that goes on in our head, right? So that's my little rant about getting paid what you're worth. And then when you get paid what you're worth, you really have to pay attention to the back end of what's happening with that money. Now, I hear you saying, but I only make X. How could I possibly set up savings or money management systems when I only make X and it's barely enough to cover the bills? You already know what I'm going to say, and you don't like it. You know what I'm going to say, and you don't want to hear it. The answer is you managed to get by when you made less than whatever X is for you now. And if you're serious about setting up a system that works for you, you can get by on that smaller amount again now that you're making X. Amanda, Leah, welcome. Thank you for joining in. Right? That's just the facts. You could take 5% off the top of what you bring home and start sticking it in someplace that'll work for you. But if you're doing that, I also want you to be pushing for more in a way that makes sense. I want you to stop taking no for an answer. Especially most of you that are here, you work in the online space anyway. So you do have the power to dictate your income by at least what you earn per service, per hour, or whatever, more so than people who punch the 9 to 5 clock, right? It is a little harder when you work for someone else, but still doesn't mean it can't happen. And the thing is at the end of the day, you either make progress or you make excuses. Let me say that again. At the end of the day, you're either going to make progress or excuses. You won't make progress while making excuses, and you won't make excuses while making progress. So you're only going to do one of the two. This is your life. It is your financial situation. It is your outcome. It is your future. You going to make progress, or are you going to make excuses? Thomas, just do it. Force yourself to do it. If you wait until you think you can save or invest, you will never save or invest. Take it from Thomas. That is exactly right. We all do that. We have some imaginary benchmark in our head and we think, oh, once I'm at this level of income, I can save. No, you can't, because your meals will get more expensive. Your clothes will get more expensive. The services and creature comforts that you love will get more expensive. Trust me when I say Murphy was right. Murphy's first law of expenditure is that expenses will rise to meet income. You have to get ahead of that curve. Otherwise, expenses will rise to meet your income. It happened for me. It happened for you. I promise you that. I've had years when I was in construction where I brought home, by the way, I shouldn't say this out loud, but mostly cash. I brought home $250,000, $300,000. I was living in a place where the rent was $1,500 a month. Are you telling me I didn't have any money to save? I couldn't allocate money? Well, guess what? I didn't. You know what I did do? I ate out twice a day at nice restaurants. I bought an Audi. You see what I'm saying? Expenditure will rise to meet income unless you are ahead of the game. This is why you'll never get wealthy doing what you're doing. And as promised, this is how you fix it. You've got to shift that thinking. It takes being willing to go into discomfort, being willing to understand, identify, and challenge your money scripts, your hidden money scripts. You know what I'm talking about. And it takes restraint now and self-discipline now. And let me tell you what I mean about that. Restraint now means not spending everything you make. And discipline now means setting up a system plus actively going after earning more, because earning more is a big part of this. Let's be clear about that, right? And most of us don't earn what we're worth. Most of us do not earn what we're worth. Economics dictates that what you earn is a result of the value of the problems you solve and the difficulty in replacing you to solve those problems. But that's not exactly true, is it? That would be true if all of us had the same level of drive, self-confidence, motivation, and belief in ourselves. Then that would be true. So it's almost true. But each of us has a different level of those things, those attributes I just listed: drive, motivation, self-confidence, a belief in ourselves. And so what happens as a result is many of us are worth far more than what we're making, not because we don't solve a meaningful problem, right? Not because it wouldn't cost more to replace us, but because we simply don't ask for it. We don't do what it takes to demand it, to earn it, to position ourselves, do the work we don't want to do to put ourselves in the position we want to be in. Am I spitting fire today? I wish there were more people on this broadcast because I feel like I'm spitting fire, right? You may be saying to yourself, that's great, Manny, but you are a personal branding coach. How the hell does this tie in to personal branding? Well, it doesn't directly. However, since you want to tie in, I'll give you a tie-in, and it's a good one. Here it is. I can help you make more money. That's what personal branding is. That's what my program does. Literally, bottom line, it gives you spendable results you didn't have before joining the program. So that's how I can help you. I can help you make more money. That's the tie-in. Plus, you'll be around somebody who's thinking correctly about what to do with their money and how to treat their money. But mostly, I can help you make more money. I'll get you more clients. I'll help you raise your prices. I'll help position you as a premier brand rather than a service provider, which means exponential growth compared to what you're now experiencing. So let me say it again. You want to know how me being a personal branding coach ties into why you'll never get wealthy doing what you're doing and how to fix it? I can help you make more money. Bottom line. Amanda's on this call. She made $10,000 in 24 hours. She's a student of mine. $10,000 in 24 hours ain't bad. I've got other students who have filled out their one-on-one coaching, had to open group coaching programs, raise their prices, grab employees to help them, and now have complete new leases on life. Why? Because they position themselves as a personal brand and not a service provider. So what I want you to take from this is to get where you want to go and accomplish the goals you have, you're going to have to shift your thinking. You're going to have to become the new version of yourself who doesn't do the things the current version does that sabotage you, that stop your growth, that keep you from getting what you want. And a lot of that is going to be around your attitudes, beliefs, actions, feelings, and decisions about money. What are you worth? Go after it. What do you do to save and grow money? Change it, make it better, right? These things are foundational, and yet most of us don't do them. And so most of us live average lives. Raise your hand if you want to live an average life. Come on, raise your hand if you want to live an average life. That's what I thought. But the average version of you can't live an extraordinary life. Now, don't worry, because the average version of you can find information like this, can have new thoughts put into your head, and can make new choices that create the new version of you. So you can build the version of you that is needed to have the life you want to have. Pretty cool, right? Yes. Okay. I love you guys. Mwah. Peace out.